Today you see two knit tops, one for winter, one for summer with super cute pleats on the front. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and I've had a bit of fun this week sewing some knit tops. It was actually a project that I had not planned at all. I usually do have in mind a few things that I want to sew in the near future, but this one came as a surprise when I saw the pattern release, and I found it so cute when I started seeing the tester photos, and I really loved the look of the pattern as soon as I saw the tester photos coming up. So I got the pattern right away on the day that it was released, and this is called Selma. It's from Sinclair Patterns and it's a knit top. And depends on the fabric that you use. It's a pattern that you can use for winter, for summer, for any weather. So I really like patterns like that because I'm usually sewing in opposite seasons as most of you who view the channel. So I always want to make something for right now, and right now is summer. It's got two options for the neckline. One is rounded, one is a square neckline. But these are not your typical neckbands. These are actual pieces that have the shape. It's actually a neckline with an internal layer. So there's two layers there. One is interfaced on the outside, one is non-interfaced on the inside. All very neat. And then that's sewn onto the main body. The back is simple. There's nothing special going on at the back, but the front over here has 5 pleats. So the pattern pieces will be different. One for the square neckline, it'll be square here, and then pleat, 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 or rounded. The pleats are long and they're meant to be sewn in, so they're not pleats that you just baste in and remove later, no. They get sewn in permanently and they start from the neckline. They're giving you a nicely fitted upper chest and bust, but then because of all the pleats there, you get this lovely little shape here and then nice amount of ease, making this super wearable. Love that, because you don't have to worry about anything being tight or constricting, and you can live your life while also wearing something cute. I love that. This top can be a regular length, which sort of hits the mid hip. Then there's a longer version that's around the full hip, and then even longer, which would make it a tunic. You can make it sleeveless. You can do a sporty short sleeve, which is like longer than a cap sleeve, then a short sleeve, 3/4 long, all the sleeve lengths. They're there. You 100% need knit fabric for this one. It would not work with a woven fabric. You need at least 30% stretch horizontally and vertically for this to be comfortable. And because of the pleats here, it's recommended that the fabric be not too heavy. So it mentions cotton lycra as an option, but only if it's a lighter weight cotton lycra. I know you'll find them in different weights because there will be 3 layers here where the pleated section is. You don't want all that bulk there. So I'm mentioning things not to use first. Like, don't use a sweatshirting, a really thick French terry, a really heavy cotton lycra, a Ponte Roma, like a thick Liverpool material. No, just keep it light to medium weight. The drape in the fabric will make it look nicer because of the pleats and the volume that you're going to get below the bust. So fabrics like rayon spandex, modal spandex, bamboo spandex, ITY, maybe some lighter weight swim fabric, athletic knits, maybe a lightweight sweater knit. Maybe a stretch velvet as well would work really well with this pattern. So you do have quite a lot of options. Just stay away from the ones that are too heavy so it doesn't end up looking really bulky over here. For the neckline process, it's really important that you interface one of these layers. You can't just leave it like that and hope for the best. If you do ignore the interfacing process, you're going to end up with a neckline that's really stretched out and deformed over time. So you do need some tricot knit interfacing. That stretchy type of interfacing is quite easy to find. My choices for fabric are 2 because I want a summer version. I also want a winter version. So my summer version for using right now is an athletic knit in purple. It's a light to medium weight fabric with lovely drape. It's wicking, it's fresh to wear, and really versatile. I could wear that top for working out at the gym with leggings, or I could also dress it up if I want. That's why I like using those fabrics. And I've found some over here locally that are matte. They're not shiny at all, so no one would know it's an athletic knit as such. It doesn't look like a swim fabric, which usually tends to be a little bit shiny. And then my winter version is a really soft drapey sweater knit. It's got 5% elastane in there, which makes it have recovery. Whenever Sinclair Patterns has a new release, they have it on sale for an extended period. It's not always the same, so I can't really say it's a week. Let's say I'm sure it'll be on sale until the 19th of November. I'll write down the dates down below, but you never know. If you check on the 20th or 21st, it might still be on sale. I'll leave you my affiliate link that takes you directly to the pattern. If you want to use it, you can use it. If you buy through my affiliate link, you don't pay extra. The only thing that happens is that some of that sale comes back as commission for me. That's just one of the ways I make an income, creating videos with helpful sewing content for you. If you use my link, I'm grateful. Thank you. If you've ever sewn Sinclair patterns, you know that they have height files as well as the regular numeric type of sizing. So you know your height first, you choose the petite, regular or tall file first, because we're not just about circumference, we have these vertical proportions as well that are included in the creation of these patterns. So I think that is great. I always sew the tall file because I'm 5'8", so it's a real helpful tool. And then you go and look at your body measurements and see your circumference and all of that, just choose your size. And in my case, I've sewn a size 16. Sizing comes from 0 to 30 US, goes up to a 63-inch hip. It's nicely fitted here at the upper chest and bust. So if you look at measurements, you have 0 ease there, but it won't feel like there's 0 ease. You know, remember you're working with a knit fabric. Most knit patterns should have less ease around here, so you don't end up gaping and it doesn't end up looking too boxy. So I agree. And then at the waist, you have plenty of ease. Around the hips, you have about 4 to 5 inches extra. I really love tops that have space for you to live inside them and be comfortable during your day. I think the pleats are placed there in a clever way so that it doesn't look boxy, but it is also really comfortable and gives you space. As usual, there's no personal fitting here. I did no fitting adjustments. I just chose the length that I wanted and the sleeve that I wanted and went ahead. I made a sleeveless version and one with a long sleeve. For sewing, we use a mix of the sewing machine and the serger. The seam allowance is only 1/4 inch. I'm gonna focus on sewing the pleats and sewing the square neckline. Has 2 little corners there, but the way that you assemble the neckline piece is going to be the same whether it's rounded or squared. I've just chosen to film the one that has the most complexity. I mean, it's not complex, but the rounded one would definitely be easier. But you'll see that you can easily do it. Just take it slow and you'll be able to get one for yourself as well. This is not an advanced project, so let's see. These are the pieces for this version of the Selma top. I'm making this one sleeveless, so you don't see sleeves here, but you can add sleeves if you want to. There are lots of length options there. Because I'm doing a sleeveless version, I have some binding there to finish the armholes. You have different shapes for the neckline. So this is not a facing, this will be part of the garment, and you have 2 layers there. In this case, I'm sewing the version that has the square neckline. So this is the front here, it's on the fold, and along there you can see several lines that are marked there for the pleats. There's another front pattern piece which has the same type of pleat markings, only it's a different shape. Here it's rounded, so you have a different front for each version. For the back, it'll be the same for all the versions. It's on the fold as well, and here you have the facing pieces. Why you see 2 of them is because you have one outer layer, which are the interfaced ones, and the inner layer will be the non-interfaced. Now about the interfacing, it is mandatory. You do need the outer layer to be interfaced, otherwise this will all stretch out and collapse. The foam while you wear it and wash it, and I've used tricot knit interfacing, so it's the type that's stretchy. Now if I stretch it one way, it has more stretch, and on the other side it doesn't have that much stretch, it just has give. I've chosen to use the side that has less stretch, like this way, so it just stabilizes the neckline shape more than using it the other way around. It's always good to have this type of stretchy interfacing if you're going to be sewing knit projects, because there are quite a few of them that do need a bit of interfacing, like this one. I'll be focusing on sewing the pleats and the neckline. It's the same for either the square neckline option or the rounded neckline option. The way you sew the pleats, the way that necklines come together, it's all the same. It's just because we have corners here, I think it'll be more interesting to see this. The rounded neckline will obviously be a little easier because you don't have to deal with. I'm going to get the pleats sewn to just get this step out of the way. This is extended, facing wrong sides up. This is where the marks of the pleats should be. So we're going to have one there, another one there, and one in the middle. So we're going to have 5 pleats. I'm just going to join up my lines and pin them. I've used the chalk that goes away with heat to mark these. There we go, 5 pleats are pinned. I'm not going to hand baste or anything like that. I would consider hand basting these down if it was ITY or something harder to work with. This is an athletic knit, and I feel that the pins are going to be okay. You can choose whether you want to put the pleats to that side or to the other side. It really doesn't matter. This is a square neckline, so this area is straight. So all the volume of the pleats is going to be the same. It doesn't matter which way you press them to, so you choose. And for the rounded neckline version, it's the same. You can choose whichever side you want, but you are going to have a little bit of excess of the pleats here on the curve, and that you would have to trim away to make it nice and smooth. This is going to be a permanent stitch. These aren't pleats that you remove later, so it's something that you sew with a regular stitch length. I can clearly see the marks of the chalk. So now I'm just going to sew them and reinforce here at each point. I am going to use a straight stitch for this because I want the pleats to look really neat. I decided to fold the pleats that way just because, no reason. And instead of basting by the machine, I just did it by hand. I think with knits, if you use too much sewing around these areas, it could have the potential of stretching the neckline out. If I can baste it by hand and it accomplishes the task of leaving the pleats fixed in place, I'd rather do that than use the machine right there. Here are the two sets of necklines. The outer layer, which is interfaced, and the inner layer, which is not interfaced, pinned at the small shoulder seams. So I'm just going to get these shoulder seams sewn there. I'm also going to use a straight stitch. I'm going to press those open, and then I'm going to put these two right sides. Okay, the two layers are done. I've sewn the little shoulder seams, pressed them open. I've got the non-interfaced layer on the bottom and the interface layer on the top. They have the same shape. They were cut from the same pattern piece. Along the inner area, I have hand basted. And over here, because this is a square neckline, I've drawn little dots so I know exactly where to pivot. It's just neater that way. If you're doing the round neckline, it's exactly the same process. The only difference is that the front neckline is going to look like this. But the process of sewing the seams, putting them together, sewing the inner area is going to be exactly the same. You always want to sew with the interface layer on top because it's more stable. We're going to sew with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm going to use a narrow zigzag here. I'm going to use my 1/4 inch presser foot to sew this just to keep it neat. Before flipping this, we need to cut into these little corners, as with any corner with an angle like this, right there. Along the back neckline, it's curved, so we need to snip. Remember, you only need to snip in curved areas, so all this straight edge doesn't need to be snipped. Center front here straight doesn't need to be snipped. This one either, just the curved areas. As we extend this, the seam allowance is going to go underneath the non-interfaced layer right there, and we're going to sew on the edge all the way around. It's going to be done in a few stages because I'm not going to understitch the corners exactly. I'll be starting a little past it and stopping a little before it so the corner is free. And then we can put these two layers right sides together like that and baste all around the edge, and then the neckline can act as one piece. As always, as I'm sewing, I'm just spreading these out slightly. I'm not pushing the fabric through. I'm letting the feed dogs work. This is a knit. You don't want to end up with stretched out wavy seams, so I'm not forcing anything here. I'm just guiding the fabric along. I'm about to get to a corner, stopped about a 1/4 inch before the corner. I'm going to leave this thread. I didn't back tuck, and then I'm just going to push that through the back and do a little knot by hand. Now I'm going to start again about a 1/4 inch past the corner, again not back tucking. Here is my square neckline unit, all ready to go and pressed and flipped towards the outside. I've hand basted along the outer edge so that it can act like one piece. I can tell which is the right side of my neckline because this is the interface side. If I separate, I can see the interfacing there. And also the wrong side of the neckline will have the understitching on the edge right there. I've got the front and the back already united at the shoulder seam, so that's done. And over here we have the square areas. Now over here, if you can see, I've done some stay stitching at 1/4 inch, and on the wrong side I have a little dot. That is where we're going to snip into here on each of these corners. This will allow this to extend and we can sew on the neckline there. So in essence, this is like sewing a V neckline, but in 2 places. I like sewing V shapes, having the wrong side looking up so that I can see this area really well. I've got the right side of my neckline here, and I'm going to slide it behind so that I have right sides together here. Remember, this is the interface side. Now over here on the wrong side of my neckline, I've also got a little dot there that intersects the seam allowances. You can see it right there. So I'm just going to align it here, put a pin through this dot, make sure it comes out right where the other dot is over here, and put a pin there. And then this little snip allows this to extend like this to each of these sides. And I'm going to sew this area with a straight stitch with the sewing machine, but just for a little bit, like 3/4 inch that way, 3/4 inch that way, and it's the same over here, just there and there. Then the rest can actually be sewn just with a serger once the corners are done. Can't really sew these corners accurately just with a serger. We'll just get these little bits sewn there, and then we can pin the rest here, matching the shoulders of the neckline to the shoulders of the top. And along the back you'll see several reference points there. Okay, that's how the V looks. We still have a bit of fabric there. Remember, this is a knit. It's not going to unravel. From this side, it looks like that. We get this little corner. If possible, I will remove the stay stitching just because it's a little bit visible. I really don't want it there. I'm going to finish sewing this other little corner. These corners here have been sewn partially there with the sewing machine just on the corners. And all I did then was pin the rest, straight area of the square neckline. Lots of hand basting to keep it in place. All the way up, shoulder seams meet the shoulder seams, and then over here there was some mark to match everything up on the back curved area. Everything's ready. Now I'm going to go ahead and serge everything. These corners that were sewn with the sewing machine, they're okay. I'm just going to go through that with a serger here, and then the rest will be caught with a serger. Here is my summer version. It is so cute. The purple is so rich. I just love it so much, and I'm giving myself a little bit of a kick because I can't remember where I got the fabric and I would like to buy more. Square neckline over here. I've made mine sleeveless, although I didn't use the sleeveless cut line on the pattern, which is a little deeper. Personal preference, I just like having a really closed armhole. So I just used the regular armhole that would have the sleeve and just put binding on it and called it a day. I just want my arm coming out. I don't want anything else. A snip there and a snip there. Getting it done slowly with the sewing machine there. There are the 5 pleats. You can fold them to whatever side you want. It doesn't matter. After you're done with the neckline, it's relatively simple. If you want to sew the sleeve in on the flat, you can do that. Or you can sew the side seam and sew your sleeve separately and sew on the round. That is my preference. In this case, I just did side seams and the binding because there was no sleeve. But that's how it looks like on the inside. It's super neat. Serged edges, the pleats are over here. Serged side seams over there. It's just very neat, and it was really fun to put together. So let's see it on 2 ways. This is my second version of the Selma top from Sinclair Patterns, same size 16 in the tall file, shortest length available. This time it's sleeveless in a purple athletic knit. I really love it over these black and white poppy pants, and I'm always reaching out for these. These are linen pants, really versatile. The black and the white pants go with any color top. And this time I've done the square neckline. All the other details of the top are the same. The pleats, the ease, the length, it's all the same. It's just a different neckline that you'll see up closer in a sec. Here is a square neckline up closer. You can see that it's just corners that you sew here. This is the outer neckline that's interfaced. Inside is another one that's not interfaced. And it's super stable, super neat, flat, no gaping. I love that this particular one can be used for lounging, working out, dressing it up, dressing it down. And that's why I love using these athletic knits so much, because it's a fabric that can take you a long way. It's nice and matte, it's not shiny, it's wicking, it's fresh to wear, it doesn't wrinkle, you can travel with it. So that's why you probably see me make a lot of things out of athletic knits, even though my purpose might not just be for working out in this one. I think that style would totally be fine over a pair of leggings, and I absolutely love it in this particular outfit here with the black and white. So cute, it's just very much my jam. Here is a really casual look for my summer Selma top. I pulled out my white denim skirt. This makes it really wearable. Only two colors, very simple, very comfortable, walkable sandals. I do feel really put together, though I'm quite casual, and I love that. Again, I love the fit of the top. I think it's gonna be super wearable. I'm gonna be reaching for it all the time because of how comfortable it is and how pretty it is. Those pleats are everything. I love patterns that have the option of making them in different fabrics, so you can make winter versions and summer versions. So versatile, it's just the best thing, because I'm in summer and I would always want to make something I want to wear right now. And for later, I made my winter version that I'll wear in a few months when autumn starts next year around April. This is gorgeous. I could also wear this inside where it's heavily air conditioned. As I said, this is a lightweight material, so it's not like I'm wearing a humongous garment. And it's just so pretty in green. There is the rounded neckline, which is, I would say, is a simpler option compared to the square neckline and just as cute. The depth of it is not exaggerated. You don't show cleavage, nothing like that. And I have long sleeves here instead. Same pleats over here, same hem. It's just very simple once you get the neckline done. This one for sure took less time to sew than the square neckline. So let's see this one on two ways. Here is my Selma top from Sinclair Patterns in size 16. This is my version for cooler weather. I made it in a sweater knit. I chose the shorter length available here. You can make it longer or even a tunic length if you want. I've also chosen the long sleeves, just a regular hem. I've made the tall file and it fits me perfectly. I really like the length proportions here for me. I got it paired with a green linen skirt here just for a bit of a monochromatic look. I like the green and tan look here. And you can see it's a very wearable piece. It's got beautiful details and it's just very comfortable to wear. I feel that even though there is more ease at the hips, because it's nicely fitted at the chest and the bust, makes it look great and not boxy at all. I feel really, really good with the amount of ease at the waist and the hips here. Love it. Up closer, you can see that this reaches my mid hip, which is usually where I want most of my tops to be. Up closer, you can see the 5 pleats in the center, just below the neckline. Very pretty. I think it gives amazing shape to the bust while giving you that ease at the waist and hips that we always love. And up higher, you can see the neckline in more detail in relation to my face. I don't think this scoop neckline is too low. I think it's perfectly fine. It lies really flat. This is not a neckband. This is a rounded neckline with 2 layers. The outer layer is interfaced, inner layer is not. Very easy to put together. Out of the 2 versions, this one would be easier to sew than the one with the square neckline. And you know what I mean? These are the garments we want to wear on any day because you know you're going to feel comfortable and you're going to be able to live your life and not worry about anything. I'm all for designs like this. Love it. I think it's really cute. I love having sweaters that are not your typical sweater. Love how it looks in the front and the back. It's very neat and it was a really fun sew. Here is a different look using my winter version of the Selma. I've always loved these two tones of green and pink together. Comparing to the monochromatic look, I think this one looks happier. They're both nice, it's just different vibes. Little colorful scarf always puts me into the picture because I always love a good colorful scarf. These are linen pants, cargo pants, goes perfect with this type of sweater as well, which is a style that you could dress up or dress down, do whatever you want. I'm going all green here with the accessories because I don't really have any in this tone of pink, so I think this is okay. I really love both. I really enjoyed both options for the neckline, and I'm glad you have two options there. If in doubt, sew the neckline with the rounded option first. It's easier than this one. And over time, once you start getting used to snipping into little corners and sewing V shapes, it just gets easier and easier. I think it would be nice for you to practice and get that noise out of your head that it's hard. Everything's hard when you've never done it before, but if you start repeating and repeating, it'll become very easy. And it's just sewing, you know, it's not that deep. You can always fix little mistakes here and there. You can go back and pick and try again. A neckline that looks like this with a square is not too common, and it's pretty unique, and it's definitely taking your time to practice and master something like a little snip, you know. So highly recommend, just follow along in the video, you'll be able to do it too. And I love them both, one for right now, one for later, and I'm very happy. I was really needing a project like this. I was going to pick up my spirits. So today's episode is officially ended. I'll just let you know a few things that have been going on here. We've had a couple of health scares, both myself and my son. They're not related at all. It was just all bad coincidence. You know, you start seeing doctors just to get regular screening because that's what you do, and then you don't expect to find things. My friends, please do your mammograms, whatever type of breast screening you're doing, because it's really important. You know, sometimes it just does not come out normal, and then you do tests and tests and tests, and you go to doctors and doctors, and it's so worrying. And I'm the person that will completely shut off. If something like that's going on with me, I get completely shut down, and I can barely function. Like, I can't do other things. Or if I do, it will just be at a slower pace. But good news, you know, I've had some tests done, and everything's been cleared. But it was like a good 10-day period where I was just really concerned. So yeah, please do your breast screening. It's so important. We do have breast cancer in the family. So it's something that's always weighing on me, and I'm always really concerned and really on top of when I have to get screening done. And then there was something going on with my son that also needed a lot of testing, but was finally cleared. So yeah, don't even, health is not something to play with or leave, you know, for later. I think, you know, if you can get things that you're worried about checked out, because there's nothing like having peace of mind. So yeah, that's my thing. I was going through that. I was just getting a bit of relief from hearing good news when I saw this pattern come up. And yeah, I bought it, made it, and sharing it with you today because yeah, I had a rough couple of days, but this has really cheered me up. There's nothing like a good, easy, neat project. At least for me, I love sewing, and it's really relaxing. Nothing was hard, so it really helped me just get myself back to where I want to be, which is happy, you know. That's all from me. I hope you enjoyed this one. It was a really fun sew, different techniques, and I love sharing. I'll see you again on this channel with more sewing. Bye.